Hello, hello, my friends, and welcome to tonight's episode of The Strength of Thousands Adventure Path here on twitch.tv/tabletop-rolls. Tonight, it is a very wonderful night indeed as we are starting off a new week and getting to spend some time together as friends, playing a game we all love. We got announcements though before we get to that game. Here they are. Other shows on the channel. Tomorrow night, I finish off Starfield. Wednesday night, Wild Ambition. Our party has puzzles to solve. And legitimate puzzles that might take you all some time. I'm excited. You're going to have to find the clues in all the different rooms and figure it out.
Get past the magic mirror, we'll have to recite poetry.
Then on Thursday we're off, but we're back again on Friday for the Astral Calling. The fairy invasion has begun. Our party's facing off with a Drider and some other stuff.
Some of us are. Well, this is not a bad. This is a web.
And then on Saturday, speaking of webs, we have Salt and Strategy. If you want to see us, after very meticulously being worried about a boss fight, deal with a very large spider surprisingly easily, go and watch the VOD.
To clarify, I wasn't very worried about it. I just wanted to do it in a way that would bypass a lot of the fight to begin with by shoving the spider down a bottomless pit that is not actually bottomless.
So you went down the well in Baldur's Gate.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we went down the well. We did the town. We dealt with Mother Ethel. I keep on calling her Mother Myrtle.
And we convinced Will to give the poor lady her zombie husband.
Aww.
He wanted a minion, but I'm like, come on, man.
It's kind of funny.
With you and minions.
They're very useful!
They can be very useful, but usually you don't want them to have family ties.
Yeah.
That's why we need to get some necromancy going up. Just some random bones no one will care about.
Hey, I am on my way to getting Dance Macabre with that bard, so...
Bones!
We'll call him Steve.
That's my biggest
Mira in the distance. Bones! Just cut to that clip of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Bone!
That's my one complaint I have about Act 2 right now, is that I've just gotten the ability to raise, zombies as my necromancer, and I can't find any bodies to use because there's a whole bunch of undead in Act 2, and you can't use the undead to make more undead.
Good news, well, you get to a dungeon at one point that literally has a weird environmental effect, and it tells you, there's so many bodies around here, you don't need a body to cast Raise Dead.
Oh, praise. That will be so useful.
You can get Steve, the skeleton archer.
Yeah.
Rattle them bones, Steve.
You know, when I'm surrounded by so many bodies that I can no longer have to cast anything, the bodies just rise themselves. I'm not exactly, thrilled by that concept.
But speaking of thrills, of course, we have our most thrilling stream. Every Sunday we have Cozy Co-op. With Will, Sarah, Emily playing Sunhaven.
The Cozy is off the chain.
It is. It really is. We usually talk about fun things. Last week we talked about cats for a really long time. It was very educational.
I feel like my brain blitzed half of our conversation yesterday. I don't remember what we talked about.
Yesterday night we talked about Final Fantasy. We talked about Baldur's Gate. And
oh yeah, the awards, the VGAs, yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about the VGAs a bit. And also, hey, Baldur's Gate 3 is a really good game, and it definitely deserved its win. If you have other feelings, you're free to feel that way, but you don't need to passive-aggressively post about it on social media.
It's crazy to me that the Spider-Man people think that if it didn't go to Baldur's Gate, it was gonna go to them. Girl, a Zelda game came out this year. You had no chance. You never did.
Alan Wake also came out.
Yeah, and Alan Wake apparently is quite good.
I haven't seen her play that one, but it looked really good.
There's a musical number in it.
There is.
Crazy. Yeah. I'm like, what is happening?
The actual old gods that performed for the VGAs, or like I didn't actually know that was even a real thing. They full on mocapped that entire dance for the Alan Wake game. It's kind of hilarious, but also awesome. Anyway.
Sarah, I need you to play this game at some point. It is a interactive story game. It is a musical.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Yes, you do, Matt. It is called, just make sure I don't get the name wrong, Stray Gods, the role-playing musical.
2 members of Critical Role are in it, I believe.
Yes, Ashley Johnson's in it for like 3 minutes, and Laura Bailey is in it for a lot longer. But yeah, go and play that game. Will's cursor hand, yeah.
I think you moved it already.
Yeah, I did.
Overly Sarcastic Productions did an entire deep dive about Stray Gods because they were so impressed with it.
Yeah.
Because they are both mythology and music nerds.
But speaking of mythology and music nerds, there's a lot of that in this cast. We are down I combined Zoe and Ophelia's name to be Zophie. We are down a Zoe this week as they are in Perry. And we are down a Benji this week, aka PJ, as they are celebrating their birthday, so a big happy birthday to PJ.
And Sarah has become a non-corporeal being, still capable of speech, but has no physical form, so...
I blame Teddy.
Crappy cameras with teeth marks in them from Pussycats.
That's the sentence I expected to hear today.
Just shake your fist and yell, Teddy!
Speaking of Teddy.
But Matt, why don't you introduce everyone tonight and then tell us what your question of the week is? I'm curious.
I have an interesting one. Hello everyone, yes, I am Matt, or Urbanoff at various places on the internet. I am here to run these delightful individuals through the Strength of Thousands adventure path for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Now compatible with the second version of the core rules. Or
the remaster.
Remaster, thank you. But speaking of the remastered rules, and someone who's probably a lot more familiar with them than I am, Will, why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
Hi there, my name is Will, also known as Tabletop Rolls. Tonight I'm playing Igora, Gama, and Choco, and you would think I'm more familiar with them than Matt, but I'm not going to lie, I currently have the PDF of the Player Core and GM Core on my third monitor with bookmarks to specific pages that might come up for me that I can check before I say wrong information on stream.
And what is Igora?
Igora's a Gripply Summoner. He's a Froggy boy.
Alright.
Yeah.
And for the special question tonight, this is specifically about you, Will, the person.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. If you were given the choice, or you think what would be most appropriate as you as a person, what would your elemental magic affinity be?
Water.
Do you care to explain your answer?
No.
That's fine. But speaking of people who are surrounded by colors that might be associated with specific elements or elemental power, McKenna, why don't you introduce yourself and your color?
Oh, me and my color?
Your color.
Character.
Hi, my name is McKenna Tynan, and tonight my color is green. Today's stream is sponsored by the color green. And maybe Sesame Street. Probably not. This is not a family-friendly channel. But tonight I am playing Avi. What, Will? What?
I saw a very good video that someone went through and basically did like a argument about how Sesame Street has been gentrified.
Oh no.
I was like,
It's got a hipster coffee joint.
It does.
It's still teaching the kids good lessons, so I'll give it a pass. Anyway, I'm playing Avi, the Nictera Witch, and her familiar Agate if Miss Pepper decides to show up. And I think the element I'd most associate myself with is air. It's also very interesting to me that Will has picked water and will not elaborate, because as Emily just pointed out in chat, He's a Scorpio, which is a water sign. Aquarius, interestingly enough, is not a water sign. It is an air sign.
What frauds they are.
To this day, that drives me absolutely bonkers.
Well, what would you have us do? Make Pisces an air sign? I don't think so. Besides, I feel like once you actually learn about what the signs actually mean, Aquarius as an aloof little air sign makes a lot of sense. But that's not why I associate myself with air, but it is that general sense of like moving from one thing to the next with relative quickness.
And freedom.
Exactly. Not wanting to be like confined.
Air is the element of freedom. It's people. So I mean,
like there's a weird like two sides of the same coin with air and earth, in that they are both stubborn and very set in their own ways. Just one is a little bit more emotionally sedentary than the other. Then they don't typically make good partners for one another, except for in situations where opposites attract. At least that's the dogma around it. It's not necessarily something that I subscribe to in its entirety. But anyway, you've asked a question with a very long answer tonight, Matthew, and I apologize for that.
I mean, that, yes, is a potential outcome of that question. And last but not least, our faceless mystery wonder, Sarah. Can you introduce yourself, your character, and what elemental affinity you believe you are most suited to?
Hello. I am Sarah Margaret, and I am playing Charlotte, the naughty toxicologist, shown here in the imagery of my face tonight. I want to say water. I feel more attuned to water than I do any of the other elements. Although I do have a tendency to iterate my meditations towards fire, but that's kind of how it works. It's either an ocean tide receding or a candle flame flickering. That's how I meditate. So, it's very dependent on the mood, but I'm gonna go with water.
Fair enough. And for myself, I would say my elemental affinity is metal, because we're doing the Chinese elements. I tricked you. There's in fact wood and metal as well. No, not really. Probably either water, because I really like water and swimming in the ocean and all that. And I like to think of myself as reasonably flexible. But I also do like the stability of Earth and kind of just very grounded kind of element. Also, I always look at like Avatar and the like and think Earth's just possibly one of the more reliable ones. Like, you could block things so much easier with earth bending. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm always a little annoyed. I see things in Avatar like, fire shouldn't be able to do that. It has no mass. It hits things, and unless it can burn through them, it's not going to do anything. Like, firebending should be hard countered by any sufficient earthbending almost at all times. But that's just...
Unless they're making the flames so hot they melt the earth.
Yeah, but that would have to be incredibly quick for it to do anything that it hits the rock. Because again, fire has no mass. It cannot move things.
But theoretically,
have you seen jet propulsion?
Cast with enough power behind it. If the fuel in question is the strength of the bender,
see, that's the thing.
then...
The fuel can be a relevant factor. Like Will made a point about rockets and stuff, but that's based on the highly volatile kind of fuel being used. Firebenders just are conjuring fire, so you have to almost imagine that it's air they're burning.
If you want to play a really awesome Avatar-esque character in Pathfinder 2e, play the Kineticist. Straight up, you can do pretty much anything you could want to do from Avatar with it. including lava bending. You can live out your Bolin dreams.
I always thought lava bending was them just earth bending on an incredibly small level and just rubbing like tiny particles of earth together so fast that it just kind of causes heat. But that's just my theory. That's just a rock theory. No. Alright. I think we're gonna get started then. Introductions are complete. Will, why don't you go ahead and roll that intro and then we'll do the recap. And Chad is correct, that is not how lava works, but I just imagine that's how you get from freaking earthbending to creating lava spontaneously, because otherwise that really doesn't make sense. But anyway, when last we left our group of lore speakers, they were continuing on their expedition to reach Osaibu, the lost golden city, which may be found now thanks to a map they found on a previous adventure. They were moving through the screaming jungle at a pretty brisk pace for a few reasons. One, certain members of the party were very eager to find Osaibu because it was kind of an interest of theirs from their time at the school. But also, there is a concern that a expedition from the Illuminated Tree, the sketchy cult that you guys are not very fond of, may have a competing team moving through the jungle. How they know where they're going is still a mystery. There have been theories tossed around that they may just be following you guys, but it's hard to tell at this point. When last we left them, very specifically, they had just finished up a fight with some despair-inducing tree men who took a lot of damage to take down, pardon me. And as you guys were sort of like catching your breath after the conclusion of that fight, there had been some discussion of perhaps trying to circumvent any other fights by utilizing the teleport spell. There was a agreement to kind of maybe try that out the next day. And as you guys all settled in for the night before attempting it today, because you guys are tired and light is leaving us.
Actually did prepare it today if we wanted to do it today.
Well, the sun has already kind of dipped down below.
Okay.
And there's these railroad tracks underneath you, too.
Oh, nice.
Before you guys settle in for the night, I have two questions for you. One, does anyone want to do anything specifically before you turn in for the night? And based on that answer, I will then ask my second question.
Cast teleport with Avi Avi.
Sadly, that will not work.
Oh?
You have to be able to see where you have to have knowledge of where you're teleporting to, and you do not have specific knowledge of anything in the Screaming Jungle at this point. Your plan, I believe, was to circumvent that limitation by flying up and just visualizing, like looking ahead and saying, alright, that is where I'm going to teleport to. But now you cannot see far enough away with enough clarity. I could unfortunately teleport us inside a tree, which wouldn't be good.
That would be bad.
You need better lighting, which will be available early tomorrow morning.
Charlotte just wants to sleep.
Well,
Should
set
we
up
set
watches.
up a watch?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Make
was thinking.
sure.
Ophelia says, "I'll take last watch," and immediately turns in. Looks down.
Like she's
Everyone
in the
looks
room
down.
with us.
Yeah, looks down in the hole. I'll go last.
Well, Igora is going to take the time, since we are bedding down, to heal everyone up to full using medicine checks. It takes half an hour.
Endures in Darkness will be your a nurse for that.
Aww. Oh,
You go,
baby.
scalpel. Hands you a little scalpel.
Forceps.
Owie.
Forceps.
Liverwurst.
Liverwurst.
All right, he starts walking back in the direction of the school. I'll be back in a while. I'll get you your liverwurst.
That was an Alice in Wonderland joke.
All right, so everyone gets healed up. Maybe, like I was gonna say, but you're gonna be fully healed by the morning anyway. I don't know, Will. Are you suspicious that I'm going to do something to you in the middle of the night?
No, it's just
before you're
good
healed?
practice to be able to be fully healed at all times when you can be fully healed, Matthew.
Why has that, caused me problems in previous games where I
Would
haven't
you
healed from room to
would
room?
you like to be would you if
Well,
you
I
got
offered you-
stabbed?
Would you?
I offered you
If you
possibility
got
to razz
stabbed,
me,
Matt,
Will, and
I wasn't going to razz you though. If you
Have
got
you-
stabbed,
have you ever-
Matthew,
have
would you
you
not
ever
treat
had-
the wound instead of
ever
letting
had
it fester?
dream? And you could
Never got
if
it.
you could if you had a dream.
I don't know what's happening anymore.
I know exactly what you're referencing, and I was thinking of the same mind, same brain cell. Anyway.
It's amazing the distance, but the brain cell is still shared.
It's like it's a very large game of Pong that we play as a group.
Anyway, so we set up a watch. I'll take first watch.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, Will. Considering there was a recent television event that all came down to a game of catch.
Oh, hush.
I'm not saying a word.
Doctor Who.
Oh, Doctor. Anyway, so yeah, alright, Igra is taking the time to heal people up. Obvi's making sure they have teleport all prepped and ready for tomorrow. They understand how it works.
Igor will take the middle watch because it's the shittiest watch, and
I mean, I should point out, the weather is clear and you guys are out in the jungle, so the sky will be gorgeous.
That's true.
Especially if you sit with your back to the fire, then the light pollution will be lessened on your particular eye.
and while you were looking at the sky, you didn't notice the vines choking the rest of the party.
No. You didn't notice the small insects crawling into their ears and then them twitching strangely and then slowly rising. That happened in a book
Are
I
you-
read once. It was terrifying.
I could
Are
take
you
Avi.
good?
I
Right.
hold innumerable horrors.
Yeah.
Very Wrath of Kong.
But also a lot of sugar. Yeah, that was a freaky bit in the Wrath of Khan, just putting worms in people's ears.
Well, at least it's not the eye.
So, what is your second question, Matthew?
My second question is, I was wondering about this. What are the bedding arrangements exactly? Do you guys just put your little bedrolls in kind of a semicircle or a circle around the campfire in the middle? Like, what is the layout of the camp?
Well, if you recall correctly, I believe Ophelia digs herself a hole. Plants herself like a sprout.
You know, Ophelia, for someone so terrified of mushrooms, I'm surprised you sleep like that.
Mushrooms grow in dark places. We're in the open air. No offense, Endures in Darkness. None taken.
Charlotte tends to sleep sitting upright most part. So Charlotte usually leans against a wall or, in this case, the carriage.
Here's a weird question
Well,
that
we're
I'm not
on-
sure I want the answer to.
While we're on the road, Choco is offered to Avi and Ophelia as like a bed.
Spiders have eyelids. Or do they just have wide open eyes at all times?
Time
Who's
Google.
to say? Not me.
Wouldn't you
I
like
don't
to
want
know?
to know. I'm pretty sure I drew Charlotte with eyelids.
I mean,
I sure did. So,
Yeah.
regardless of whether or not spiders have eyelids, Charlotte has eyelids.
Anadi are slightly different, yes.
And Avi, I think in the past where y'all have had to sleep out in like
They don't
the,
have
like, the
eyelids.
desert and everything. Well, Charlotte does.
It's like, is he Googling? He might be Googling.
I did
Probably.
Google.
You Google?
I Google.
Avi
Yes.
is taking full advantage of the surrounding tree life to both sleep upside down in a tree and sleep close to the fire. I think in the past where we've sort of slept out in the flats, that's not been an option. But if there's an option to hang herself upside down and sleep that way, she will usually take it.
The cart is covered. It has kind of like loops of wood or metal and a canvas kind of cover, so you could hang from like a bar in the middle of the carriage. It's not like a box. It's like a covered wagon, sort of.
Wood might be more comfortable and a little bit more advantageous for first watch. At least for now.
I lied.
Oh.
I'm a terrible liar. I create a hammock out of webs and sleep on that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Really nice. It's a really absolutely beautifully ornate because my naughty senses won't let me create webs that aren't beautiful. It's part of my nature.
Alright, so Avi's taking the first watch. Igor has taken the second. And Ophelia will take the third, potentially. I think the 3 watches is how it usually goes. We don't need, I guess, Charlotte to take one. Alright, so Endures in Darkness also volunteers to take the first watch with Avi, because Igor has people with him he can take watch with, and Ophelia has her little... Actually, I suppose you have Agate as well.
I do have Agate.
So, Agate probably falls asleep whenever possible, much like a cat would.
Yeah.
Also, I like to picture sometimes Agate curling into a ball on top of Endures in Darkness's big mushroom hat head.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's absolutely something a cat would do.
It's like a mushroom man wearing a tiny fur hat.
If Egg is anything like Pepper, around 3 a.m. she's going to start sprinting around camp.
Pepper doesn't do that all that often.
Daddy does.
If you made her nervous, that's on you.
Alright.
I existed!
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Cats got weird senses, man. They got weird reaction to certain vibes. Not a statement on you, more on them. Alright, unless you have anything you want to do during the course of your watch, we can move right along to the perception check.
Yeah, I think so. I will do one for me and Agate. Oh, I need to reduce my frightened value. Hold on.
Oh, yes, so we're all free from that.
Yeah, okay. 1 and 2. Give me 1 second. 36 for me, and 32 for Agate.
Okay. Yeah. Seems like a quiet night, at least to the start. Though I should note, and because this is sometimes a thing, there is the normal sounds of the jungle. It hasn't suddenly, like, you're suddenly noticing, like, where are all the birds? Where are all the insects? The jungle is weirdly quiet. No, it's normal. You hear some frogs. You hear some bugs. You hear occasional birds. You hear what might be some sort of hunting cat, possibly, or something larger out in the jungle. But it's not coming towards you. Nothing seems to be menacing the camp during your watch.
Nice.
All right. We will move on to Igora and Gama and Choco. Unless you want to send Choco to be, thing for others.
Choco will go with Ophelia.
Okay. Alright, unless there's something you want to accomplish during your watch.
Igora just kind of hums to himself quietly while keeping an eye on everyone.
Alright, so give us a perception check for yourself and for Gama. Okay.
33 and 22.
Yeah. Alright, and then we transition to the final watch with Ophelia, but during the kind of movement of waking Ophelia up and you guys and Igor settling down into their watch, Charlotte, give me a perception check.
Okay.
28. It kind of takes you a moment, but you are slowly kind of roused from your sleep as you feel something like soft, like not pointed or heavy, but something soft kind of moving on your leg, like one of your main legs.
Okay, I wake up and look.
All right. You look down, and there's enough light from the fire that you can sort of make out a shape, but not like details like coloration or texture or anything. And it almost looks like there's some sort of spider thing, like something with multiple legs crawling on your leg.
Okay, I am going to very cautiously reach down and see if I can't feel it or brush it or grab it in any measure.
All right, give me a dexterity check, like a reflex save to touch it in a way that, isn't obvious what you're doing first, so you can kind of catch a feel, so to speak. Yeah, I know. I couldn't think of another way to describe it.
You couldn't?
Or didn't.
I mean, either or.
Reflex
Yep.
41.
All right, yeah, you kind of slide your hand down your own leg slowly and then just kind of turn it over the leg just to feel. And you're a little surprised. Rather than feeling something like with bristly hairs like a tarantula or smooth and chitinous like some sort of like nasty big spider, it feels soft, like cloth or yarn or something. And you hear a little, oh.
Ooh.
Oh,
Hello?
Hello? I suppose this is probably the wrong time to ask this, but you're Charlotte, yes?
Yes, that's me. And I pull I basically feel it and I kind of like reactively like cup around it to try to like scoop it and lift it closer so I can see it.
Okay, it doesn't seem to fight you or anything. You scoop it up. It's about the size of something that kind of fits in the palm of both of your hands when kind of cupped together. So like the size of a small cat potentially, but much lighter. It has an interesting sort of feel to it where it is mostly soft like cloth or yarn or something soft like that. But there is in the legs you kind of feel as you pick it up sort of an underlying stiffness. Sometimes there's those toys that have like a soft cloth exterior, but there's like a wire inside, so the legs can be posed.
Do
you want to move it sort of into the light a little?
Yeah, kind of close enough that I can get a better look at it.
All right, so you move this thing in your hands towards the light, and you see something. Probably the last thing you've expected to see in the jungle. You are holding in your hands what appears to be a moving, living plushie of some kind that's made of yarn. It appears to be a knitted spider. Give me a quick perception check as you're studying this thing.
Yardichoki, perception, 34.
34. Oh, one important thing you notice about this, in addition to its little button eyes, its almost comical little puffy mandibles made of like yarn. They're like tiny like little arm things that they made to use to make mandibles, but they just droop down because they have no stiffness to them. It is missing one leg. And it also seems to have a few kind of twigs and leaves stuck into like some of the folds of the yarn. It's a little dirty. You get the impression maybe it's been traveling through the jungle. But it looks at you, and with whatever kind of expressions it can have, being made of cloth and yarn, it seems to smile. It says, I'm so happy to have found you, Charlotte. I've been looking forward to meeting you for, well, I suppose I could say my entire life.
Oh, well, it's truly a pleasure to meet you as well. You have me at sort of a disadvantage, little friend.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'm being terribly rude. My name is Webley.
Webley.
Yes.
Pleasure,
I'm,
Woodley.
how shall I put this? I suppose I'm here to be helpful. Um, I, I don't want to speak out of turn exactly, but um, I understand you are on a bit of a trip and you've got some sort of obstacles ahead of you. And I'm a little ashamed to admit this, but I was overhearing some of your conversation earlier before you all sat down for bed, and there was some concern about like looking into the distance and everything. So, and it reaches kind of down into its under its own belly, and it pulls out a curious looking little thing. It appears to be almost like the outline of a kind of hexagonal shape. Flat, it's just like a six-sided kind of circle almost, but it's got sticks to make kind of flat sides. Um, so it's kind of a hexagon shape, and it's got um, string woven tightly around it in sort of a pattern. It's making almost sort of like a circle. It's like a little talisman sort of thing. And it does not go unnoticed that the string that has been wound around the edges of it is of the same color and same type that makes up its body.
Oh, oh, well, I'm confess I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I understand that there was some concern about some sort of spell being able to work properly based on being able to see far into the distance. This is a special little magical talisman I was able to make that, when held up to the eye, will allow you to see much more clearly at great distance.
Well, that's very helpful. In fact, I'm sure Avi could very much use that for the teleport spell.
Well, I'm here to be helpful, to mostly specifically to you, but I understand from listening in that these are your friends or your colleagues. So if I can be helpful to them, if that's something that will be helpful to you, I'm more than happy to share the love, I suppose.
Well, absolutely, and thank you so much for this. I appreciate this. Do you, I hope it's not too impertinent for me to ask, but uh, who who sent you?
Ah, um, I don't mean to be cagey or evasive. I am just having to consider. I suppose there isn't any harm in me just telling you directly. I was I was made and sent here on behalf of your grandmother.
Oh, I see. I mean, you were she made you. That doesn't surprise me. She always did have a good hand with little crafts. But
Looking at him now, you kind of suddenly kind of realize that he does resemble little things that your grandmother would make for family members when they were very young. A lot more elaborate, but a very similar style now that it's kind of been pointed out to you.
I see. Well, I certainly could use the help, Webley. I'd be happy to have you along, especially considering you were made with such care. However, I you seem to have had a little bit of a rough going about it, didn't you?
Oh, well, I mean, they're starts picking at the things kind of stuck in his. They're just leaves and sticks. I just need a good shake or a bit of a grooming, and I'll be good as rain.
Well, may I?
Oh, certainly, thank you.
And Charlotte kind of actually like sits up a bit more in the web and reaches into the bag and starts pulling out all kinds of these little materials and stuff like that. And may I make a crafting check?
Certainly. What are you specifically attempting to accomplish?
One kind of uh working in and sort of pulling out. One of them is like cleaning out all the leaves, but if there's any breaks in the I want to ask, is it like a knitted toy or a
Yes.
crocheted sort of toy? Knitted. Kind of, make some sort of locks with web to kind of close up any of the gaps that might have happened, and then maybe craft a new leg so that it is a proper eight-legged arachnid.
It should be noted to you that if you were to remove all of the string from the talisman, it would be exactly enough string to make another leg.
Aww.
Oh, oh no. Well, I think it'd be very fitting if I used some of my own webbing and some of my own materials to, put a little piece of myself into my grandmother's creation.
That would be not a particularly hard crafting check, unless you're trying to weave some sort of like magic into it. If it's just mundane repairs, yeah, just give me a crafting check, not particularly difficult.
I don't know, Matt. Should I make it a magical crafting? Would that be beneficial to me?
I'm not sure if you possess that skill. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, let's try some magical crafting. Let's put a little magic into it.
That old black magic.
That old black magic. I need to actually look at what magical are. Through some of the requirements listed, you can select this feat. You gain formulas for four. Uh, Sorry, I have to look
That's
up my character sheet for a second.
that's perfectly right. Ophelia is kind of side-eyeing you. She thinks you're just talking to yourself or your bird as she's doing watch. I'm
Aw.
going to, by the way, roll for Ophelia's watch. Boop.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I'm gonna do some crafting and
oh, Ophelia is actually aware that you're talking to someone, but she chooses not to investigate for now.
34.
All right. Um, as you are sitting there, stitching, weaving, um, making this new leg from various materials you have, you feel a familiar and sort of comfortable presence. And for a moment, you almost kind of think back in the day, you were fiddling with something, it's not important what, but you were sitting on your grandmother's lap while you were doing it. And for a moment, this memory comes back to you so completely, you kind of like have to blink and you forget entirely about what you're doing as you're sitting there. Um, and you almost feel like her presence sort of like behind you as you like remember sitting on her lap like that.
You're getting really close to home, Matt. I miss my grandma.
Oh.
She taught me how to sew.
Oh.
She's still kicking. God love her. Amazing.
Sorry,
She
we're
is
making things a little real.
yeah,
It's a good feeling.
she's good. All of my that beautiful blue dress that I took to the Ren Fair that had that photo in it? That was her. She made that.
Mhm.
She's really, really good. Anyway, yeah, I guess I bring this little Webley back into a more maybe not as clean and pretty as my grandmother would have, but certainly practical in the sense that it is a full little plushie again.
And because you chose to invoke a little bit of magical in it, it is a functional leg.
Hmm.
With the others, yay.
Yeah. I hope it is wonderful that I now have some of your work to go alongside your grandma's as well. I feel extra special now, thank you.
Of course. I suppose I will introduce you to everybody in the morning. I
Um, There was one thing else I wanted to mention to you, and I wanted to mention it just to you in case I don't know if you want what you want to do with this information. It's entirely up to you. I'm just the messenger in this regard. I'm not sure how your grandma knew this, but she wanted me to tell you about something potentially a little dangerous. She heard somewhere about a like an artifact or a weapon, and she was concerned that it might be used against you and your friends at some point. And it is a devious kind of thing that is difficult to conceive of how you might deal with it if you are caught unaware. She described it, she didn't have a lot of details, but she described it as a moving prison that is, once caught in it, is almost inescapable from inside it because it doesn't imprison your body. It imprisons your mind away from your body. So you are essentially rendered helpless because without your physical body, you don't have the tools to deal with the relic or the artifact that is imprisoning your mind. I talked about it in kind of hushed whispers, and I don't know who has it. Your grandmother seemed unable, or I don't know why she would be reluctant, but she seemed unable to share details. But she had heard about it, and she felt that just because of the nature of what it was, that a forewarning would possibly just be the best defense against it. Because it's a lot more easy to overcome if someone that you trust is left outside of its area of influence, because then they could potentially disable the artifact or possibly even destroy it or render it inert, and that would free everyone who's caught within it. Because it's hard to break out of a prison if you don't have a body that you're connected to.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, I will definitely have that into consideration. I wish there was a little bit more detail, but knowing now, at least that there's something out there that can cause this issue is, I guess, better than not knowing at all, I suppose.
I was a little overwhelmed by all the information I was given right off the hop, so I didn't really think to ask a lot of follow-up questions. I haven't been, I suppose, alive for very long, so you know.
I mean, honestly, Webley, the fact that you are alive brings me more joy than you could ever imagine.
I mean, I don't find that hard to believe. I'm pretty new. I have pretty big limits on my imagination right now. I mean, I don't even
But
dream.
you are new, and that's part of the thing. It means that she's still here, so you being here is the best sign I could have. And
oh, she seemed to be doing very well. She would sleep a lot, it seemed, but when she was up and about, she seemed quite sharp, still able to craft things like me, apparently, with her own hands. So
good a sign as any.
yeah, she seemed very comfortable where she was. Though I didn't get a whole lot of time to take in the surroundings. I was apparently given over to one of the family members who had some magical talent, who poofed me into the jungle near you, and I kind of followed your trail for a little while. You guys move kind of fast. That big frog is a lot quicker than me.
Ooh, well, yes, I can see, obviously. Well,
But thankfully, I don't need to sleep, so I was able to catch up ground while you were all sleeping.
well, excellent. Well, from moving forward, you can travel with me. And Charlotte just kind of like opens up one of the packs, and inside is like a whole bunch of, materials. They're all kind of, I was like, it's not very comfortable, but
Oh, I don't really have a sense of comfort. I'm not sure I can even feel pain, honestly.
That is decidedly weird to hear, but
I mean, it's slightly comforting, I think about it, because it'll just be like if I ever get damaged sufficiently that the magic that animates me is gone, it'll just be and I won't know the difference. Mortality is a new concept to me entirely, so I haven't had time for any sort of existential dread to set in.
Wow.
I'm also very purpose-driven, so now that I've met you and I'm helping you, I'm feeling very fulfilled personally on a spiritual level.
She really did make you in her image, didn't she?
I feel like she probably like poured some of herself into me. I feel a great desire to protect and maybe serve you some like soup or something. I don't know.
Well, I suppose in the
You need a
meantime,
sweater made? Are you keeping warm? Where's that coming from?
I've got my scarf from her, so I suppose that still counts, I
But
guess.
you have mittens. You have to watch those hands of yours. That's where you work all your magic. You should wear mittens.
Probably.
Where's this all coming
So
from?
many mittens.
You're probably right. How about and Charlotte just kind of like pats at her because she wears a lab coat obviously all the time.
I mean, obviously
Pats at the coat.
you can replace my legs, I guess, so I could make you some mittens. Kind of starts looking at his own legs.
No. You can what you can do is you can make yourself comfortable in this giant pocket in my coat for me so I keep you safe and you keep me safe by staying near me, yes?
That makes perfect sense to me.
And I will have this artifact, and in the morning, we will speak with Avi Avi, who knows more about magical items than I ever could, see if she can use it to help us, by you helping me. And some such.
That sounds great. I think most of your ideas are great.
I'm gonna go back to sleep now.
Okay, just kind of like slumps over, and you're not sure if it's actually asleep or just pretending to be asleep so you don't feel like you need to pay attention to him.
Gently.
What is life? What is existence? I'm made of yarn.
Gently put Webley in the pocket of my lab coat, so he's just sitting there.
The head pops out.
Oh my god, it's so cute. I can't.
I love Webley.
Beware of fire damage from now on. Yarn is very flammable.
Matt is going to mercilessly kill this thing.
If you do, Matt, I'm getting on a plane to Canada.
All part of my
personally.
plan to have a cool party at some point.
Don't you kill
You
my
just kill all of our familiars, and when we charge Winnipeg with pitchforks and torches, you're like,
Now. I won't kill Wills because he doesn't have to travel. I'm very pragmatic.
I see.
You know, one of these days, I will go to a cat show close by to Winnipeg.
Squishy can be hired for revenge.
And have no reason to come here because, Sarah, there's literally nothing in this city.
It's the people.
There's the people.
Also some good board game cafes.
Okay. Well, anyway, morning
ice cream.
time. What did Ophelia perceive, Matt?
Ophelia perceived that you were having a calm conversation and that it wasn't any of her business.
I imagine that's exactly what Zoe would say.
All right,
But
Ophelia
you do
got
notice
body
that
snatched.
immediately, as you guys do wake up, Charlotte immediately notice that Ophelia just has like an expectant look in her eyes, like, gonna share now? What's all about?
Is it
I'm
morning?
waiting.
Is it dawn? Has the dawn broke?
You hear a jungle cat like somewhere in the distance, and that in the place of a rooster.
I love it. It's a rusted spotted cat. We should hide.
So yeah,
I
you
shall
guys
name
are
it
up.
Teddy.
Endures in Darkness is already making breakfast for you guys. Sausages, tomatoes, nice crispy bacon. I don't know. I just watched that bit from the first Lord of the Rings movie where Frodo wakes up and in the middle of the night, they're cooking a meal while they're trying to be stealthy in the middle of the night. Oh yeah, we've got a cooking fire going. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Roasted tomatoes, crispy bacon.
What the hell do you fools? And he starts stamping on it. Oh, that's nice. And then Ringwraith shrieks and like, "Oh, we effed up."
Yeah, it goes downhill from there real quick.
It's funny how the hobbits never seem to have any guilt about that later on.
No.
Like Frodo got entirely stabbed because of them. It was all their fault.
It really was. But that's like...
It's fine. Tom Bombadil will solve all the problems.
I will murder you.
God, please no. Anyway, so it's morning. We're having breakfast before we continue or start the teleport spell, and Charlotte just goes, I have a friend.
Ophelia raises an eyebrow and says nothing.
Well, I mean, yes, obviously I have you as friends. I mean, I have a new friend that came and appeared last night while everybody was sleeping. I would like to introduce you all to, and she reaches down with one of her hands and pulls out Webley.
I'm so tempted to have, like, Webley's an inanimate toy.
And where did you get Webley? Where did you get Webley, Charlotte?
Hello, Webley.
Oh,
Well,
hello, everyone.
Where did you get Webley, Charlotte?
Also, I should mention that because his little mandibles don't have like any of the like wire in them, when he talks, they just kind of wiggle like two dangly legs, like on a Muppet.
Why not Webley?
You still have Webley.
In all seriousness, Charlotte, what's the over under on this thing being a spy from the trees?
Oh, it's not. I promise it's not. It's
give me a
from my
perception check,
grandmother.
Will.
Yeah, I'm going to do an insight check on this thing. It's like, what's the over under on this thing not being
And you spot a
good?
a tree stitched in his belly.
A 35 from Igora.
As Charlotte's holding Webley out and just trying to make an introduction, you're like looking around,
Are
inspecting
you a spy,
all angles.
Webley?
I mean, I don't think so. I would like to think I would know if I was.
Are you evil? Are you going to try to kill us?
I don't think I could if I wanted to. I don't have any sharp edges.
Does the 35 perception for insight?
I will tell you from the perception, yes, 35 insight's pretty good. You are aware that they, at the very least, seem entirely genuine in what they're saying. There is no deceit that you can detect. So unless they're, a really good liar, they are a surface level individual.
Okay.
They don't have second thoughts.
But they do have second breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't eat.
My grandmother used to make these kinds of things all the time for the family and to sell at some of the markets. So I just didn't know she had the capability to make them, like this, and just kind of like.
I think I was told I'm a sort of a new development. A chance was taken with me.
Okay.
Well, it's really nice to meet you, Webley, and I
Stick out a hand for a handshake.
Hey!
Oh, and Webley was sent to assist me in our endeavors for a quest that we are on. And he brought a particular item with us that apparently is meant to assist us with our endeavors in teleporting. Here, and Charlotte just kind of like takes out the little talisman and kind of just like holds it out for Avi to like glance or look at in her palm.
Interesting.
I probably need two hands. Hold it like a dinner plate.
Well, it's not that big. It's almost like a kind of like forest witch equivalent of a monocle.
Oh, okay.
So
I suppose
Avi holds it like a dinner
That's
plate.
a fair point. You hold it up though, and suddenly
it's a
you
little
are seeing
mirror. It's a mirror, Avi-sized mirror.
Yeah, you are seeing the details incredibly close of a tree across the clearing, and you see an ant turn to look at you.
I wave to the ant.
It has a "what the" expression, and it crawls into a hole.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Can I do a little detect magic, read aura on this thing, just to make sure
Certainly.
that the only magic it's doing is, showing me more stuff. That should be divination. I'm expecting divination.
Or enchantment, maybe.
Enchantment?
Enchantment! The dwarf bursts from the... A pair of dwarves burst from the tree cover.
And with the discern secrets, just in case I have to roll anything.
It does seem that there is a bit of divination magic on it to assist with farsighting, so to speak. It's pretty rudimentary, but you almost can see a little something in terms of like the magic, in terms of the read aura. There's almost like a little sparkly thread connecting it back to Webley.
Huh. Webley, when I look through this, can you see through it?
No?
Is Webley a transmitter?
Are we doing a Hunter thing?
Possible. Can I make some sort of Arcana check to see
I'll get
why
the fire
they would be
ready.
connected with discern secrets?
I would, yeah, Arcana and Discern Secrets.
Yes, please.
Ooh,
32.
31.
I'll take a 32.
You actually kind of like figure this out. The reason there is connection is because it is being powered by the magic that powers Webley. Nope, we lost McKenna.
Nope, we lost McKenna. Oh, it's
I'm
powered
calling-
by the... Oh,
I'm
it's
calling her
powered by the...
suspicious face on me. I'm intimidated.
Oh, it's powered by the magic that does Webley. There we go. That's the McKenna impression for the night. It's really bad.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It's not your best.
It's like Peaceful Peace Blossom.
Oh God, no.
It's
No.
me, Peaceful Peace Blossom.
I'd like to point out that he got really in depth in the criminal activities, and I have locked up the teddy, so now I'm hearing him in the distance with his pitiful cries.
Meow, 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 meow,
Criminal
meow, meow.
activities were getting too destructive.
Mother, you have betrayed me.
McKenna will be back in 1 minute. Whilst she is gone,
Will wants to set Webley on fire.
no, I'm not going to set Webley on fire yet.
I'm gonna go commission a Webley.
Do it. Whilst McKenna is gone, favorite Baldur's Gate companion?
Oh God.
I feel like this is a softball question to both of the other people in this show.
It is. Go for it. What you got? I mean, what you got, Matt? Which one's your favorite?
I really like Karlach. To be fair, I like all of them. I like Karlach just as she ticks a lot of boxes for me in terms of the characters I like and as a romanceable character.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
a romance partner?
Yes, but special shout out because I just want to mention this to Will. I like Will in that at his core, he is just a good person that the world is trying to screw over multiple times due to him having to make bad decisions to do good things.
His
His
Yeah.
story is quite good. I like it. Just he wants to do good so badly, but sometimes he's faced with bad choices,
Yeah.
but he still has to choose.
He is very much. I have to say, I'm very happy that they updated and changed his story when they launched, because it is leaps and bounds above what it used to be.
Elderworm Studios, thank you for the raid. The player who was just having a pivotal scene in the AP, experienced some tech difficulties, so we were just waiting for her to come back. Speaking of her, it's
McKenna?
they're joining.
That's
They're coming. They're connecting to audio. It's McKenna. Muppet screams.
Oh, whoa!
There we go. We missed you.
First of all, William, I don't appreciate that you think that I sound like Peaceful Peace Blossom. It's a bad impression.
It was.
I did hear it.
I could see you in chat. That's why I was like, I'll just have some fun.
Sorry, but Sarah didn't get to answer your question. Well, we'll get. Sorry, I just want to finish that before we get back to the.
Oh, I mean,
Astarion.
the thing is like in terms of just great sassy dialogue, I absolutely love Astarion because not as just like a romance option, I love his background dialogue that is just so fucking hilarious. But I also have to agree that honestly speaking, Will's, he is a very good person, and some of his comments when he talks about the other party members who arguably he doesn't have to get along with, but he quite literally like he sees the good in all of these very messed up trauma-ridden characters, and he's like, they're worth more than what their gods think they are, and I think that's just so good and so awesome of him. But so yeah.
Nice. All right, there we go.
It is funny to me how Will seems to be very articulate and very kind of wise, despite being supposedly a charisma-based character. So unless he is just, schmoozing me and making me think he's very wise with all that charisma, which is possible.
Well, arguably, I think he's the youngest. No, maybe Shadowheart is younger than him, but I think he's the youngest of those group, considering he's full human and Shadowheart is half elf. So she could actually be slightly older than I think.
I mean, things are even muddier for Shadowheart for spoiler reasons, but I won't talk about them.
Why
But
they
I
look
also
all
think
traumatized?
Karlach might be in her late 20s at the most.
Either
Yeah.
way. Back to
Yeah.
the AP.
Back to
Hey, child
Sort
soldier
of.
in hell.
what
Anyway.
incarnation?
So yes, did you catch my answer to your question, McKenna?
Maybe. I don't
All right, I'll just
remember
reiterate.
anymore.
The reason that the divination talisman is connected to Webley, you think, is that the magic that is powering the talisman is the same magic that is animating him. He is just essentially kind of peeled off a piece of his own magic and put it into this artifact so it will work.
Hence why
Well,
the
then
string is strong.
I would like to do a little bit of investigation on Webley.
Investigation. Maybe some read aura, detect magic on that little guy. Just to make sure that he is in fact from where he says he's from.
Well- Hold on. So
He may not be lying.
no, you were attempting to do like an arcane magic kind of reading,
Yeah.
determining his place of origin, unless it's a very unique.
determining his magic of origin and if there is anything else attached to him beyond the magic animating him.
Let's see what you roll. Like, depending on what you roll, because that's a bit of a very specific kind of analysis in terms of trying to figure out where the magic might be coming from. Analyzing what kind of magic is a little more straightforward. So
Yes, I mean, with detect magic and read aura, I should be able to glean what magics are attached to him. Not their origin, obviously. That I can
yes,
go in for later. But deciphering whether or not he is exclusively just like animated versus like, is he also a spy?
A spider.
So
Alright,
yeah, I cast read aura, detect magic.
All right. So read aura. He himself appears to have a aura of enchantment, which you know from your time at the school is fairly common for enchanting objects. Just based on your limited interaction at the moment, he does seem to be a fairly kind of advanced form of enchantment because he seems at least partially sentient. You're not sure if he's really capable of like higher cognition and if whether or not he will even last that long necessarily. Like it is potentially easy to animate objects. Animating objects so they can answer questions and seemingly have like a little bit of personality is a little more complicated. And unless a lot of magic is invested in it, may not last very long potentially. But it's a little hard to tell the longevity of this spell at the moment. It seems stable at the moment. But, from experience, you also know if he keeps snipping parts of himself off to make magic items, probably not as long. You poke enough holes in something, it might unravel, much like his string.
I'm gonna level with you, Matthew. When you mentioned earlier that there was enough yarn in the talisman to make a new leg, I thought that that was like included in case a spare leg needed to be made, not that he made the talisman or that the talisman was made out of his own leg.
Yes.
Um, but there is none of the divination magic that would imply that there is some sort of scrying going on.
He is not a magical listening device as far as you can tell.
Yeah. That's excellent. I
You
just
also
wanted
don't
to be
sense
safe.
a second level of enchantment, which is like a backup personality or anything to be triggered by boxcar, something.
Oh, interesting.
There is
Well,
none of
I'm
that.
glad there's none of that there.
Yes.
I think Webley is a safe companion to be with us. However, Webley, I need you to listen to me.
Okay.
No more making talismans out of your limbs, okay?
Kind of glances up at Charlotte. I mean, I'm here to help Charlotte, so if she's fallen off a cliff or something, I might throw some of my strings down to help her. But I'll try not to do anything like that.
See, Choco? That's how you be a self-sacrificing companion.
That's not. No. Don't teach Choco this. Webley,
I don't know what the
I
dynamic
just,
is here exactly, but
Bad.
in
It's
Choco's
bad.
possible defense, this is literally why I was made. Like, I was not born. I was created with a purpose in mind. It's a little different.
Consider this.
Consider the following.
If you sacrifice yourself for Charlotte, she's gonna be really sad.
Yes, but she would be alive to be sad, and then potentially she might not be sad again one day.
She could also be alive if I turn into a dragon and catch her. So
Oh, is that something you can do?
that is something I can do. So have a little faith in us. Well, have a little faith in you. Stop tearing your legs off. Because
I
that
mean-
could kill you.
I won't make promises I can't keep, but I will do my absolute best to not do that until it's absolutely positively necessary.
See, I like Webley. They get what they need to do to protect their friends.
I am concerned by that praise.
You should be. That's the correct response. I appreciate you, Evely. Okay. Well, I have said what I can say about that, and if you don't want to do it, I can't make you.
Igor, give me a perception check real quick. And for Gamma, too, if you want.
Perceive. Igora gets a 24. Gamma gets a 33. That's exactly the same, I think, that I fucking rolled
No,
on
the other one was
wash.
22 and 33.
22, okay.
Alright, you don't notice anything. Gamma doesn't say anything, but he kind of turns his head to look a little to the north and just has an odd look on his face.
What's wrong, Gamma? Murder Forest?
No, just something. I don't have hairs on the back of my neck, but
Well, then
I-
we should get going.
I'll be here if you need me. Webley just kind of slumps down in Charlotte's pocket.
I'm going to. He's adorable and I love him. I can't get over Webley. I'm gonna put teleport in chat.
Fire.
He is a little concerned about the mention of turning into a dragon. He doesn't know much about dragons, but he knows there's potentially fire involved.
Sweet child.
He is, by the way, a puppet,
Gotcha.
which is a ancestry you can play.
That is, I think that's the first thing I said when I saw him. I was like, it's a puppet. Okay. So you and the targets are instantly transported to any location within range. The range for me, I have upcast this to 7th level, is 1,000 miles.
And I would teleport 1,000.
As long as you can identify the location
location
precisely,
is
both by its position relative to your starting position and by its appearance or other identifying features. So, because
Incorrect
you
knowledge could cause the spell to fail, or can instead lead you to teleporting to an unwanted location. So to me, because for other things, if you need to have seen it personally, that would be calling for familiarity, and it's not calling.
Well, I'm not
necessarily
saying seeing it
familiarity.
personally. It's just you are in a jungle you've never been, attempting to travel to a place you have never been and don't even know what it looks like necessarily beyond a city of gold. You don't know what the architecture looks like. So if you want to do sort of what was discussed last week, where you fly up into the sky, just look at the direction you were attempting to go, and essentially just like you're not even trying to necessarily get all the way to the city. You're just trying to leapfrog all through this giant parts of the jungle and avoid possible encounters. You can do that, and the little talisman will be helpful. Perception check will probably be helpful just to like maybe identify a good spot to land.
Yeah.
And obviously, the higher you go up, the better, because you'll be able to see over more of the jungle and see farther.
I will also say my primary motivation for this, I don't think I would have done it just to spite the AP. My primary motivation my primary motivation for this is I want to either leapfrog over the illuminated tree or shake them off our tail, because if we just up and teleport, they're gonna have a hard time knowing where we went.
All right, so now we're entering into a checklist territory, because when you're flying up, you're going to be looking for possibly two things. One, signs of the illuminated tree following you or ahead of you, and a place to teleport to in the direction that you're supposed to be going.
Yes.
Give me a... trying to think here. Just give me a D20 plus your intelligence. You're going to study the map, because looking at a map is one thing, flying up in the air, not holding the map, and trying to figure out exactly in what direction you want to be teleporting, that's good enough. Because I know this is a little different. You don't have much in the way of bonuses to this.
Right.
But you got over a 15, which was kind of what I was looking for here. So now you have a good sense of looking at the map. You guys are aware of where you've traveled, in what direction. So you have a good sense of what direction you should be looking into to try and teleport your big distance. So that's one thing that'll be a little easier once you get up into the sky.
All right.
Does anyone want to do anything to assist Avi in this?
I mean, I gave her an amulet, so.
I mean, yeah, take 5. Smoke if you got them.
I get a minute of flight per hour. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my dragon form.
Ooh.
Because I think I can get up higher as a dragon.
Yeah.
Using that, oh god. It gives me a lot of speed. I think it's something like if I'm flying, I want to say 80 to 100 feet per turn, something like that.
God, it's so much text, doesn't it?
It's so much text.
It's fly speed 100 feet.
So I can get 300 feet per round, meaning I could be able to get as high up as I need to get.
Yes, this is a good use of the spell potentially.
I will also take Agate with me so that I get the advantage on perception. I can phase familiar on the way down.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Does anyone want to do anything else before we engage in this little maneuver?
There is nothing I can do to assist the Avi maneuver.
All right. Endures in Darkness is just going to take, before you take dragon form, take your little hand in his, and for as long, I'm not sure if it'll last very long, give you guidance.
Thank you. I will also invisibility sphere myself before I go up, because if we are being followed.
I do like GFA, though, if you get like paralyzed in midair and fall, they'll never know where you went. People have been knocked unconscious invisible before in games that I've played with Will, and it has been a problem.
If I was unconscious, wouldn't the sphere go down?
It depends on the spell. Certain things aren't concentration, they're just an effect.
Yeah.
Like haste. You can be hasted, be knocked unconscious, wake back up, and you're hasted still. It doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make sense, but it is fun.
It's just there's been
being bleeding out while you're invisible, like under a spell that someone else cast, is dangerous.
Yeah, it's a 10-minute duration. Well, it's fine. It's fine. I can fly. I can phase familiar. It'll be fine.
Matt didn't know you were going to be doing this, so obviously he wouldn't have anything up in the air prepared for you.
It can't see me. I'm invisible.
I am not here.
But you see, McKenna, they ran into a weird bard who tried to do some sort of eye surgery, and now they have a special eye that lets them see invisible things.
Matthew, that's not fair.
Hey, don't talk to me. Talk to Volo.
Okay, I'm an invisible dragon.
Yeah,
I'm
that's also a
flying.
scary idea.
Somebody
There was-
clip McKenna saying that. I'm an invisible dragon.
What are they gonna do? I'm a dragon and I'm invisible.
I mean,
What
that's
is they gonna do?
that saves a lot of money on commissioning someone to draw your scale Sona. I'm dragon, but I'm invisible. All right, done.
Are we? I think we broke McKenna.
Sorry, I'm just imagining getting that DM. Could you draw my character? They're invisible.
Yes.
Yeah,
sure, bud.
Why not?
Here, it looks great. Thank you.
It's going to take some time, and it's kind of a
Yeah.
it's kind of a difficult job, so I am going to need a pretty hefty payment.
Anyway,
I mean, actually, if someone like did the thing where it's like drawn transparent, sort of, so you can barely see it, that would actually be really hard to draw.
so 30 seconds.
Yes.
That's 5 rounds. 5 times 300. How far am I getting? What is that?
I'm just
5
gonna say
times
this.
300.
You get up high enough to do what you want to do, and I'm not going to actually track the rounds for this.
Yay!
Because I don't
No
want to have to do the math.
I hate math and I love Matthew.
I thought you were going to say I love RPGs and I hate math, but I'll take it.
You're the one who's not making me do the math. So
Don't give me too much credit. I don't want to have to think about it.
all right. Well, I'm up there, and I think it's time for me to start making some perception checks. Yes.
Yes, you're going to be doing 2 perception checks, one of which you will have guidance on yourself. I guess Agate's like perched on your head or something,
Yes.
holding on for dear life.
Yes. I will also do a little discern secrets on this.
All
So
right.
one for me, and one for Agate.
Oh, I need to scroll
Naturally,
down.
Agate's is better.
All right. All right. So this check, I should have asked this ahead of time. Which one of the 2 checks is this? Is this looking for any pursuit or anyone ahead of you, or is this the one looking for a good spot to teleport to?
A good spot to teleport to. That's
Okay.
my first priority.
You kind of look around and you're like, oh god, this is actually a little harder than I thought. It's just trees. It's just trees. But then Agate kind of bats you on the head. It's a little hard for them to actually get your attention because you have a thick skin now. But then they kind of like, you can feel them leaning on your head, and they're almost treating your head like a boogie board, and they're trying to shift your head like they were, trying to control with their body. And they point you. There is a good distance away. There is actually kind of a plateau sticking out of the jungle, which makes it almost a great landing pad, so to speak.
Interesting. How far away would you say this is, estimate in miles? Because
Well, what's your max sight in this current state with the heightened?
I don't know.
The teleport?
With
sorry, no,
the-
the teleport. How much is your max teleport?
1,000 miles.
Okay.
So I should be able to, like, if I could theoretically see Osaibu from here, I could plop us right down. I just don't want to do that.
You can't see Osaibu from here.
Yeah.
Plus, you are
Not with
vaguely
a 32.
No, you're also vaguely suspicious that there's probably some sort of like magic making it difficult to see from a distance.
Yeah.
But this is a good distance. You are going to save probably a couple days worth of travel with this.
Nice.
And you're pretty sure it's in the right direction.
Okay.
Also, Agate is also holding like some sort of like weird lens, holding the little talisman down in front of your little dragon eye. So you're like,
I love my familiar.
familiars are useful.
Okay, so let's do then one more round of perception checks to see if we are in pursuit or being pursued.
Right. You sort of do a wheelie in the middle of the air, so you can look around behind you.
That'll be a 37 for the both of us.
You do not see anyone behind you. There is nothing visible in the jungle pursuing you. No carriages, no carts, no, line of infantry, no army, no banners, no flying machines or anything behind you. completing your kind of spin, your 360-degree look around, you do not see anyone like ahead of you traveling in the direction that you're hoping to go. You do spot something a little odd, though. You see something kind of twinkling almost, shining, catching the light in certain ways. And it seems, you have to study it for a couple seconds, but it seems like something moving towards you. And it's actually not that far away from where you guys are, maybe like an hour. And you kind of focus because it's a little closer than the thing you were looking at in the distance. You look at the talisman, and for a second, you swear you catch a glimpse of like more than one kind of like golden figure marching through the jungle in a line. And then it's kind of hidden by the canopy.
Ooh.
Good to know. Good to know.
While this is happening, two things. On the ground, Will, you and Gamma, please make me another perception check.
Okie dokie, perception to checkity calling.
Oh, eager. All right, so
Natural 20.
I'm going to enjoy this a little bit. So you're, sitting on like a log or something, kind of glancing up in the air where you think Ophelia in her invisible dragon form might be right now.
Avi in her invisible dragon form. It's not easy being blue.
Something draws your attention back to the ground, though. There is, near where you guys were camping last night, like a small pool of water, like left over from like rain a few days ago. And for a second you're like, oh no, someone might be scrying on us. But then you see something different. The water ripples. And then it ripples again. And you put your foot, it's like you were sort of sitting up on the log, cross-legged. You put your foot back down the ground and you kind of like concentrate. And you can feel something in the ground. There's a rumble that is accompanying the ripples in the water. Bum, 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 bum. And while this is being noticed by Igora with that excellent nat 20, Charlotte, you are also kind of standing around, sort of trying to figure out, all right, so if she flew up there, where she would be right now, or how high she would be. You do notice Webley kind of hanging a little more limply than he was.
Oh.
And you notice this, and you kind of realize that you did sort of notice this happen as Avi ascended.
That was close at hand. It's fine. If she comes back with the talisman, he'll be fine.
He was like, wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's fine. You're fine. It's good.
So yeah, you are feeling good about yourself, Avi. You have accomplished both your goals, seemingly. You've got some new information up in the area. Like, everything is coming up dragon.
I am going to race back to the ground. Let me know if I need to drop dragon form if enough time has passed that I need to drop it and fly.
Well, how long does it usually last, the dragon form?
It's a minute.
I'd say you're getting pretty close to a minute. You were taking your time up there, making sure you did a good job. You're getting close to the end of a minute, so you have about maybe 20 seconds left.
Okay. Hopefully that's, depending on how far I got up, that should be hopefully enough time to get back down to the ground.
Oh yeah. You have plenty of time to get back down to the ground. Yeah.
I'm
not going to have a long conversation before dragon not there. Though your invisibility is going to last for a lot longer.
Before it's drag on?
It doesn't drag on, though.
I said drag on.
Hits the dirt. There's probably a big puff of
dust. Dirt.
Dust.
Hey, y'all, something's coming.
Webley kind of perks up a little bit again.
There's a big old lot of people in gold coming our way.
There's also rumbling on the ground.
Well,
Will, are you saying the rumbling's coming?
Yeah.
The rumbly and my tumbly, let's go.
I'm gonna get that teleport spell going now, and I had thought that I had said this, like, I was like, yeah, of course we're not doing any water. Going to make a point of covering up any water that is in and around the camp.
Well, give me a perception check. You haven't necessarily noticed this water. It's a very small little...
dowsing ability that can actually show me where the water is, but my perception is actually higher than my...
You would have to know to use it, though, as far as you
I mean, if Avi says will cover up, says Igura cover up all the water, Igura will just have Gamma go slurp it up.
Yeah, it becomes pretty easy.
Yes, then I can scry from inside Gamma. No.
Neither Agate or Ion. But yeah, Avi's like, okay, we're going to cover up the water first. So anyone who wants to help her do that can help her do that.
Gamma goes up the water? Gamma goes up to one of the puddles.
It's literally, it's just this one little puddle that probably formed from, like, dew in the morning or something.
Slurp.
Yeah.
Alright, then I'm going to start going about the preparations for the teleport spell. It takes 10 minutes.
Okay.
Igor's on high alert.
Yeah, Igor, you can still feel this this rumbling in the ground approaching, and it does seem to be increasing in strength.
It's getting close, Avi.
Does anyone want to borrow the talisman?
Nope. Shar, can you do a spot check for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hand off a talisman.
All right.
Probably better to keep it with Charlotte.
Charlotte,
anyway.
give me a perception check, looking in the direction that Iguro is indicating. 27. You know what I mean? Good enough, because you do discover that there is something getting a little close to you guys. You can now see, sort of peeking through. It's, dense forest, but you can see it, and it seems to be actually clearing a bit of the forest as it approaches. There is just a line of men made of gold, weapons in hands. They're not people armored. They're literally made of gold. They're like animated gold statues with weapons in hands, and there's like a regiment of them advancing through the forest.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is we don't recognize these things, and 10 is the authoritarian regime that we had spent a number of months inside of as diplomats.
This is a 0. This is an entirely different aesthetic style.
Okay. They're entirely made of gold?
They at least look like they're made of gold. They look a little dirty.
We got golden guys coming our way.
And it does seem like a lot of them, and you get the vague impression they're possibly looking to trample you.
Well, you said that we had an hour from when I was in the sky to...
They're moving at a decent clip, but yeah, you might want to just keep on that teleport spell preparation. Maybe get that going.
Should I?
There's an advancing tide of gold boots waiting to stomp on you guys.
Maybe we should take the caravan and skedaddle around the advancing?
I think they're coming towards us. Like, I think we've tripped off the security system for Golden City. Yo, Jimin.
Well,
Sorry, Sarah.
The major problem we have with this is if we try to avoid them by running in the opposite direction, we get further away from where Avi is trying to actually cast a spell. And the problem is that if maybe we can circle? Maybe we should lead them around a big circle.
I think we got the time. I feel really good about it. It's just we're going to be cutting it close, so we just got to make sure.
And Charlotte, as someone who is a crafter and has associated with various other magical crafters and alchemical crafters at the school, one of the big advantages too of animated things or alchemic creations is they don't tire.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, you guys can just sit here working on the teleport.
Literally just like, okay, yeah, sure, perfect, and just like helps Ophelia up into the caravan, gets Choco close by, just gets everybody as close to the caravan as possible.
I unsummon Gamma so that Avi doesn't have to count him as part of the teleport.
Salvador appears in the space that he was in.
De-summon your familiars, and ththose that cannot be de-summoned need to go in the bag of holding now.
take Fern.
Ophelia's like,
bag of
but it's
holding.
dark in there. They need sunlight and water.
Now, Ophelia!
Oh.
Wait, I have the prop for this. Get in the bag, Fern.
Also, theoretically, Floribunda should be able to be desummoned.
I mean, yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably become like an inert seed or something.
It's mostly Webley, and I think Rules is Written Choco can also be desummoned. It's
Yes.
mostly Webley that I'm worried about.
Line
Webley
people
goes
up.
into my pocket. Webley then becomes an item.
Also, Webley could probably go in the bag of holding because they don't breathe.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Oh.
So me plus 4 people. Yeah. So any animal companions would need to be stowed.
Please stow your animal companions.
The bag of
Under your
holding.
seat.
Animal companions.
You can
inside
probably
your bag
throw
of
them in there
holding
at the
all-
last
all the
moment and then immediately pull them out. Because
Yeah.
once the spell is cast, the transmission is like instantaneous.
Yes.
Okay.
All
All right.
So yeah, you guys.
Opens the
like-
bag of holding.
The
Come on in,
spell
Choco.
goes on 5 minutes in, 6 minutes in, 7 minutes in. You can see the glinting of the gold through the trees. 8 minutes in. They've
Oh,
broken through the far tree. You can see them clearly now. They are just advancing towards you. Stone cold
You know-
expressions.
If we melted them down, we'd be so fucking rich.
As you say that, actually, Will, you see they actually, their arms melt into liquid gold at the moment and then reform into nasty-looking mauls. Their arms are just hammers now, and they just start...
If you've ever
to give
seen-
them that idea. You
if you-
had to give them that idea.
If you've ever seen Animaniacs, Igro's eyes just turn to dollar signs.
1 minute in, they are like 20 feet away from you guys. And like, Durst Dark just kind of looks at Avi like, Avi?
Charlotte,
And Darkness, get in the bag holding right now, or Charlotte.
Charlotte just like all limbs grabbing people and bringing them close.
They
to
are
her bag
10 feet
holding
away,
open.
and then there's a swirl of purple magic with runes enlaced in it, and suddenly you guys are on a lovely plateau above the tree line.
Did you just say some of you guys?
Suddenly, you guys.
Suddenly, you guys.
Oh, I was like, fuck, Matthew, what did I do?
Endures in Darkness has no legs now.
That's fine, they'll grow back.
Actually, McKenna,
Matthew.
roll me a D100.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a 97.
That is a 97. Ophelia is teleported into this space with 1 foot standing on air, and she starts to tumble backwards. Everyone can give me a reflex to grab her to prevent her from falling.
Is it she falling on her butt, or is she falling down the cliff?
She is falling off the side of this plateau about 80 feet to the ground.
I got a 33.
Yeah. Avi, you grab and like flap your wings furiously, and that's enough to slow her, and then everyone else can just sort of grab all of you and make a human chain to pull her up.
28. Ugh.
So yeah, you guys have traveled a great distance towards your objective, and it's still just the kind of the start of the day, actually.
Nice.
Ooh.
It will be a bit of a climb down the side of this plateau, but it's not so steep that it's going to be dangerous. You'll just have to take it carefully.
You know, it's the climb.
Okay, Miley.
All right. Well, the day is young. We have a city to go see, and some very confused automatons to leave in our dust.
The bag of holding
Thank goodness.
ripples.
Yeah, we get everyone out.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like a Pokeball. Bum, 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 bum.
Don't worry, it's the master bag of holding.
Endures in Darkness just.
I didn't actually know if I breathed or not.
Okay, you did good. You
It's never
did
been put
good.
to the test.
You know, as hindsight being 2020, we spent an entire night resting. We could have tested that.
Wow, you didn't know it would be. So yeah, you guys are going to continue on the rest of the day just as per normal traveling. Though I should note, you no longer have your carriage. or your cars. It has now been
Yeah,
crushed
that's the
into
problem.
matchsticks.
That's fair.
Cardi the cart.
To be fair, also, it was getting already to be sort of a kind of a problem pulling a cart through the jungle.
Through a jungle.
Alright, everyone want to get on Gama's back? I can make him fly and we can just, like, ride the frog.
Sounds delightful, honestly.
Great.
Is that a metaphor?
It does sound like a euphemism for something, but
Ride the frog,
No,
man!
it's licking the frog. That's
No,
the
you gotta
euphemism.
ride it, man, because licking it is just a physical act. Your riding is an experience into a new state of consciousness, man.
All right.
look
You
at
are
Alright,
talking
wow.
to a cactus, sir.
Either way, Gama is able to fly 60,
Oh, God.
90,
I've
90,
never
f- 90 feet every 6 seconds, so...
I've never introduced you guys to Hell Needle, my cactus, leshy, tiefling warlock or sorcerer with the
Hell
demonic.
Needle?
Yeah, he's a leshy sorcerer with like diabolical bloodline.
oh my god, I love him.
They were
Kind of a
they
myth.
were pain. 675 miles an hour. That can't be right.
Well,
Not
Ooh.
per.
No.
don't worry. Well, it's not going to be relevant because you guys spend about an hour traveling, and eventually you reach a particular part of the jungle that is particularly high, dense, and misty. And you're a little concerned, unless you want to go really high, you may want to go back down to the ground just to avoid slamming into a tree that you can't see until it's directly in your face.
Sounds
And, you
good.
and considering how many people you have on the back of this flying frog that could fall from a height and hurt themselves, probably a good idea.
Sounds good.
All right.
And we might be able to just cruise low to the ground.
Like hover frog
Yeah.
to the forest of Endor. So
Our battle toad is ready to go.
you guys are traveling through this misty part of the jungle, and eventually, the mists of the screaming jungle part, giving way to a mass of brambles, colorful flowers, and thick underbrush. You make your way awkwardly through this bit of the jungle that seems weirdly thick. Beyond the oppressive thicket stands an enormous statue made of gold in the shape of a woman. The statue is dozens of feet tall, seemingly to watch anyone approaching the thicket, though that might be a trick of the light reflecting off its brilliant surface. Just behind the statue lies a wall of gold, rising to its waist. Golden buildings poke above the walls, giving only a hint of the fabulous city within. The most striking feature of the area, however, is the silence. The jungle here is still. No chirps or growls echo through the air, and even the leaves and the plants seem to be kept still as to not disturb the area's tranquility.
Hey Avi, we made it.
The sight of Osaibu is awe-inspiring. You guys have accomplished something extraordinary by finding this, by this city. Unfortunately, the moment is a little hampered by movement all around you, as hundreds of warriors emerge from the thickets of the tangle, camouflaged and moving with a grace and skill that you realize, oh, these people do this for a living. They live in this. And their weapons are all drawn, and they are demanding, with calm but firm voices, that you surrender.
Naturally. Hello.
Igor just says,
I feel like that's where we should end. Is just Avi going.
I do want to read a bit more. Though, Will, you wanted to say something?
oh no, Igor just like, as Avi says hello, is just like looking around. Go ahead, Matt.
The warriors guide the heroes past the thickets of the tangle and into Osaibu proper. A golden gate opens before you. Inside, you behold a magnificent sight. Stories described Osaibu as a city of gold, and it lives up to the tales. Much like other cities, Osaibu has cobblestone streets, but the cobbles are large chunks of gold. Buildings are made from bricks of gold, and even more mundane features like planters are inserted with gold. They have like inlay and such. The brilliance glinting off what light peeks through the jungle canopy gives the entire city an almost ethereal appearance as it shimmers with a dim golden glow. This is like nothing you guys have ever seen, and somehow exceeds what you imagined in your minds. Like, you didn't think it would be this much gold. And we're gonna explore what reception awaits you guys and how long you're gonna stay in this city, which might surprise you, next time.
Oh no!
You guys have reached Osaibu, the Golden City. And unexpected opportunities and challenges await you.
I'm very curious about what you said about how long we're going to be staying.
On that note, with a new chapter behind us, or beginning, right? New chapter?
Nope.
No, same chapter. All right.
Here's the thing. The whole weeks where we spent trudging through the jungle and fighting those episode-long fights, that was supposed to be like the preamble, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, we've done the preamble. Now it's time for the postamble. Join us next time as we take one short day in Osaibu City.
I think this might just be the amble.
Yes, this is now the amble.
We're here now in the amble.
We're here now in the amble.
We're all very whelmed.
But yeah, thank you all so much for coming tonight. Don't forget to check out our many other shows here on the channel. Next TTRPG stream is Wednesday night. Wild Ambition. If you like puzzle dungeons, if you like westerns, if you like
a lot of southern dialect,
if you like siblings, druids.
Siblings. This is my sibling.
If you tolerate my bad southern dialect.
Now, Will, before you sign us off completely, I do have a question for you as the channel runner. Would you prefer to have the Wednesday Christmas special on the 20th or the 27th?
I was going to say let's do it on the 20th.
All right, then. And I have a classic Christmas movie inspired one-shot for our Western crew on the 20th, and I'm planning to create, I got good work done on this weekend, another of my movie posters to go with it as an announcement.
And then based off of that movie poster, I will determine what NPC I will play for it.
Oh my god.
What are your options? I know Balti is one of them.
Balti is an option. Alec's an option. Alec has levels in some things. There is the fabulous Gay Panic. That was that one NPC that Honey met a few weeks ago.
Oh, you could play Amber.
I could play Amber.
It's a good name for a Western character.
I don't really want to play Candor in the one shot because
he's lame.
Because he's basically like another flavor of Honey.
I'll tell you this, Will.
He's not.
No, like not personality-wise, like mechanical-wise.
I was gonna say, you take that back.
Yeah.
Mobility, dexterity, and stealth might be what you want to lean into.
Oh, I got no one for that then. All my NPCs. I could also play that Cobalt. There's lots of options. Anyway, we'll find out. Thank you all so much for coming. Check out our many other shows here on the channel. Wednesday night, Wild Ambition, Wild West TTRPG. Friday night, Astral Calling, Space.
Currently, the only
Currently,
place not corrupted by capitalism.
oof.
Space.
Currently trying to deal with a fairy invasion. One of our party members may be 1v1ing a dryad. A drider for a bit, not a dryad. A drider for a bit.
Dryader.
I am providing Chad with this encounter, one of Chad's like dream things to do in a D&D game. So, I'm excited for that.
Solo a drider?
Yeah, like solo like a boss monster. Speaking of boss monsters, for Wild Ambition, probably after Matt's Christmas special, we're going to get to a very mechanically cool fight, so definitely come and watch for that. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming. Check out our many other shows here on the channel, and we'll see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.